Alright, so one of two things either happens. You either love this thing or you hate it. And either way, I love Swampert. It's such a it's so fast. That's a reason. That's a big reason why Shadow Swampert is so strong. It charges fast, and Hydro Cannon is just so powerful. Combine that with Swampert and its ridiculous stats, and also the fact that it resists electric types, you have a very strong Pokemon for Ultra. So Ultra League was at one point, actually in a lot of points, was dominated by Swampert just because just how good Swampert is for Ultra League. Swampert takes down your steel typings, and Earthquake does heavy damage against things like Giratina and Cresselia. So Swampert actually maxes out around like or near actually like the near level 40, so that's why it's so strong as well. It maxed out very high, has great attack, stamina, and defense. It has really balanced stats, very few weaknesses. In fact, the only thing it's actually weak against is grass. So as long as you can avoid grass types, nothing actually hard beats Swamp. No, Swampert actually isn't weak against like anything other than grass. It's pretty nuts. For some odd reason, it actually resists electricity. It doesn't do neutral damage, so you actually resist electric types. You also resist fire types, poison, rock, and steel. Now this is a big deal because steel is actually really prominent in this meta, and so is somewhat electric because of Magnezones, etc. So Ultra does have those electric types out there. They also have plenty of steel types. You got those rock slides for Melmetal. Melmetal hates Swampert, and Swampert is just so freaking powerful. Swampert, like I said, only one weakness, which is grass. Well, it's a really big weakness, so those grass knots are going to hurt. And those leaf blades, if you happen to see someone crazy using Shiftery in Ultra League, grass is dangerous. So Swampert is very easy to obtain if you didn't do Community though. So if you didn't do Community, it might be a little difficult. Because what makes it so good is Mudshot Hydro Cannon. Now the thing about Shadow Swampert is you have to use an Elite TM. Unless they have an event to where you can evolve Shadow Marshtomp, and then you evolve it and you get a Shadow Swampert with Hydro Cannon. Because that's what happens. During actual community events, you can evolve Marshtomp into Swampert. And you'll actually have Hydro Cannon. Other than that, you're going to have to use an Elite TM, but if you do use it, and you play it well, it gives you a lot of benefit. Now, the reason why Shadow Swampert is so freaking good is because Mudshot is one of the fastest energy generation moves in the game. 9 energy for a 2-turn move, and then Hydro Cannon is only 40 energy. So it's only 5 shots to a Hydro Cannon. With that being said, you can stack Hydro Cannons like no tomorrow and absolutely just nuke everything in the back. Well, yeah. Because there's a lot of things that Shadow Swampert can kill with Hydro Cannon versus the regular version. Some things that will take 3 Hydro Cannons usually can take 2. You don't actually one-shot Charizard with a Hydro Cannon from a regular Swampert. Shadow Swampert, on your hand, can one-shot a Charizard with Hydro Cannon. That is the huge differences between the regular and Shadow, just because of how much damage the Shadow version outputs because of the extra attack it gets. Now, like I said, kind of hard to get. You need an Elite TM unless you're going to wait for an event, then evolve it and get a Shadow Swampert with Hydro Cannon. And it's also kind of expensive. It maxes out at around 29 or 30. So because around 29, 30, it's kind of expensive. The second move isn't so much, but you still like anything level 30 costs like close to 200 grand dust, etc. So you're going to spend quite a bit of your Stardust is going to take it's going to take a heavy price in order for you to get one. It also has a sweet shiny. The shiny's like purple-ish, magenta with like gold. It's really cool, really sweet. And if you've been playing for a while, you'll likely have one of these monsters in your arsenal, but we're looking at Shadows, so if you really want to use a Shadow Swampert, let me tell you just how good Shadow Swampert actually is for Ultra League. So Shadow Swampert overall ranks at number 6. It's pretty high. It beats a lot of relevant matchups. For example, it beats Cresselia, it beats all the steel types, it beats Cresselia, and it beats Charizard. It also is very strong against Charmers. Because it has such a dominant outlook over majority of the meta, it's really powerful, especially if you have energy lead. Now, its key losses are Gira A, Dragons, Poliwrath, Articuno, and Lapras. But as you see, these ratings aren't actually that bad. So if Shadow Swampert actually, with energy lead and with shields, it can take down all of these. So just keep that in mind. In the lead, Shadow Swampert ranks at number 5. It's best used, as you see here, best used in the lead or the closer. Best lead or closer. I wouldn't switch into it unless you switch into if you could switch in, but I wouldn't switch in unless it's like a steel type or if you have a dominant matchup. But Swampert as closer is just absolutely amazing. So in the lead, Swampert ranks at number 5. Again, very strong in the lead. It beats Cresselia, it beats Registeel, Charizard, Clefable, and Snorlax. Now you kind of lose against a lot of relevant matchups too, so your best bet if you lose is probably to switch. Other than that, Shadow Swampert will actually allow you to break shields and do heavy damage if you play correctly. In the closer, Shadow Swampert ranks at number 14. Much less than it is in the lead, but it still beats a lot of things. It actually beats Gear A in the closer. And it's really, really strong. It outpaces a lot of the meta too. That's why Shadow Swampert is so strong. I wouldn't use it as a switch though. It's still strong as a switch, ranks in the top 10. Just be really careful though, because if you get a Cresselia with Grass Knot, it's not going to be a good time for you. And just unless you have an advantage, unless you have an advantageous matchup with Shadow Swampert, it's kind of dangerous to play it. As you see, it loses against Articuno. It even loses against the regular Swampert really hard, especially if it's behind energy. Alright, so here's Shadow Swampert. I compared it to the regular version. I also gave it Sludge Wave. Don't run Sludge Wave. I wouldn't recommend it. If you get Sludge Wave, then you're going to see what happens. So here's a 2-shield. If you get Sludge Wave, Gear Altered walls you hard. So we're just going to skip the Gear and just show you why you don't want to use it. See, you have such a bad matchup with Sludge Wave that it's not even funny. Earthquake gives you a chance because you can actually beat Giratina Altered and Gear Origins if you have Earthquake in the end. So in the lead, Shadow Swampert beats Charizard. Convincing. It also beats Swampert. It also beats Blastoise. It beats Cresselia. So it beats Crest leads. Of course, you're going to lose against Dragonite. So just because Dragonite resists you. You beat Empoleon. Beat Excavalier. You beat Feraligatr. You also beat Ferrothor. So ironically, you actually... Now this is kind of bait dependent. You have to threaten with... The Earthquake is what kills it, so you have to threaten. This is really bait dependent. But if you do land the Earthquake, you could just go straight Hydro Cannon. That's just how nuts Shadow Swampert is. As long as you add one Earthquake, you're pretty dang good. So you also lose against Gira A, but you win against Gira O. So keep that in mind. You lose against Gira A, but Gira O. Gira O is also somewhat of a you can see it in the lead, so just be careful. You'll lose against Lapras. However, with Lapras, if you land an Earthquake, it does a lot of damage, so just keep that in mind. You lose against Machamp just because you got outpaced, but you beat Shadow Champ. Now, the reason why you lose against Machamp is because it just does such heavy damage, and you lose CMP. You can lose CMP, as you see here. It could just go straight cross chop, and then you just die. Now, this is a really close match. As you see here, it's left with like 3 HP. So you can take it to the zeros and then sweep whatever you have in the back or however you want to play it. It's really up to you. You're going to lose against Meganium really hard if you see Meganiums, just because Vine Whip plus Frenzy Plant, it just sucks and it completely walls you. Well, yeah, it completely walls you. If you have Hydro Earthquake, Meganium will wall you. Now, you lose against Obstagoon, keep that in mind. You beat Amok, Melmetal. Remember I said all the Steel leads? You beat all the Steel leads. You'll beat Melmetal. You'll beat Registeel. You'll even beat Excavalier. Where's Excavalier? Excavalier, you beat Excavalier. So you beat all Steel leads pretty convincingly. And Caesar has nothing against you. You also beat Poliwrath in the lead. Be mindful, though, in this matchup, you need to land Earthquake. So you need to land an Earthquake, as you see here. If you don't land an Earthquake, you're in danger. So just keep that in mind. And it pretty much beats... You lose hard against Togekiss, so if you do see Togekiss lead, back out. You can probably bank shields, but you only beat Togekiss if you have shield or energy advantage, as you see right here. You can actually win in the series because you just go straight Hydro Cannon. As you see, 2 Hydro Cannons do KO, and just because it does so much damage, you're still left with 51 HP. So just be careful with Togekiss and lead. You can break shields or do chip damage. It's really up to you how you want to play Togekiss. That's 2s. Here's the 1 shield. Oh wait, no, that's 2-to-1s. Okay, 2-to-1s. Okay, perfect. So here's the 1 shield. Now in the 1 shield, it gets a little dangerous. You do beat opposing Shadow Swamperts. However, this is really dependent on whether you have win or lead, and it has to have the Sludge Wave variation. But you'll see. You can beat, as you see, Swamperts, but you need energy lead if you want to beat it in the 1 shield. You do beat everything you're supposed to beat, so you beat Charizard. You'll even beat Clefable in this scenario. You even beat Cresselia. Now, if Cresselia has Grass Knot, you lose. Just keeping that in mind. If you have Cresselia, like, if they have... A lot of Cresselias are running around with Grass Knot, so here's what happens. If they have Grass Knot, you lose in a lot of scenarios. You only lose up 2 shields. You only win up 2 shields. So Grass Knot Cresselias are really dime a dozen. Be very careful of them. If you do see Cresselia, I recommend you shield. Like, even if you don't know if it's a Moonblast or a Future Sight, shield. If you're locked in. If you want to keep it. And then play it out the way you want to. You beat Empoleon, you'll beat all steel you'll beat all steel types very convincingly. So you beat Empoleon, you'll beat Excavalier. You beat for Alligator. This is ironic. Now, this is where you'll lose against Ferrothorn. Remember I said you have to land an Earthquake to beat Ferrothorn? You need to land Earthquake to beat Ferrothorn. And you lose against Gyro O&A just because dragons resist you. You lose against Lapras because Lapras resists Hydro Cannon. If you land the Earthquake, the keyword is if you can land the Earthquake, it does heavy damage. So you just keep that in mind. And for the rest of the matchup, there's nothing really notable. You beat Snorlax, which is kind of interesting. You do beat Snorlax in Ultra League, so just keep that in mind. And like I said, in order for you to beat Swamperts in the mirror, you need energy lead. So just be careful. Now, the no shield, things get kind of dicey. In the no shield, you actually get, in the no shield, you beat Charizard. Remember how I was saying you beat Charizard if you one-shot? You actually don't with Swampert. So if you need to actually land 2 Hydro Cannons to beat. Now, so if you do the regular Swampert, you have to land 2 Hydro Cannons. With this one, with Shadow Swampert, you actually close out with 1 Hydro Cannon. As you see, it does matter. So Shadow, and just because of that Shadow damage. You also beat Driplim, you beat Empoleon, you'll still beat your Steel Leads. You actually beat Gear Alter too. This is where it gets interesting. If you get a Gear A in the closer, you could actually just finish it off with the Earthquake. Earthquake does KO. See here? You'll live with like 1 HP. Keep that in mind though. You'll live with like, this is like the perfect scenario. So you can, the keyword is can. You can beat Gear A by just straight Earthquaking it to death. And you also beat both versions of Machamp. You'll Melmetal, you beat Armor Mewtwo, you beat Amok, you beat Obstagoon, and of course you're gonna beat all your Steel Leads. Now as long as you have energy lead, you will beat Shadow Swampert, or you'll beat the Swampert mirror. So just keep that in mind. If you get the mirror, you will beat it if you have energy lead. You only beat it if you have energy lead. Just keep that in mind. See here? So we're gonna run this. If you run the sim, it's a simultaneous knockout. But if they have shields, you lose. Or if they have shields, or if they're up shields, you lose. But here's the thing. If you are up a little bit of energy, say you get 2 mud shots in. Watch what happens. Boom. You beat it. So you'll beat it in the closer if you have energy. So you need energy to beat Shadow Swampert, or to beat Swamperts. Now, with shields and with energy advantage is where Swampert really shines. If you go to the 1-0s, look what you beat. You'll beat Shadow, so you will still lose against regular Bulbasaur, so just keep that in mind. But look at how many matchups you beat. Notable matchups. You beat Charizard, Blastoise, you'll beat Clefables, you'll beat Charmers, you beat all Charmers up a shield. You beat Cresselia, you beat Togekiss. Gramble's in here too, you also beat Gramble. You'll beat both versions of Giratina up a shield. So as long as you have a shield, you'll beat both versions of Gira. You'll even beat Ferrothorn. So it's just crazy just how powerful. You beat Swampert, you beat Snorlax, you beat Togekiss, Typhlosion. You beat so many matchups up with shield. So if you have shield advantage, Shadow Swampert is a monster. It's a monster. Up 2 shields. If you are up 2 shields, anything in the meta, you beat the entire meta except for Meganium. Just because Meganium and Frenzy Plant. Remember how Meganium walls you? You do beat it with Sludge Wave, but with the Earthquake, you do get walled. Other than that, you beat everything else. So up 2 shields, Shadow Swampert wipes the entire meta, but Meganium. Unless you have Sludge Wave. So just keep that in mind. The 2-to-1 things get a little dicey. If you have shield advantage, you don't beat all matchups. You beat most matchups. You'll still lose against all the grass types and Togekiss. So you'll lose against Togekiss, and you'll lose pretty much to get anything that has grass and Togekiss. Anything grass, Togekiss, like a butt must know. So just keep that in mind. So the 2-to-1s is kind of... Swampert is best used when you have energy lead or shield advantage. But if you get energy or shield advantage, as you see here, you just absolutely destroy. You can actually just sweep the entire team with just Swampert alone. Alright, so I'm actually just going to make this really short and sweet. And I'm going to show you a meta as Fudge lineup. And then put Swampert in the closer. No, really, that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to put Articuno in the lead. We go and get Articuno. We're going to put Giratina. And then we're going to put Shadow Swampert. This is actually one of the lines that I used before. Well, yeah, this is actually a line I tried to use before and actually works really well. So anyways, like I said, Shadow Swampert is able to sweep the meta as long as you have shield and energy advantage. And even if you don't, it has such strong... It outpaces literally, most of everything. You'll have a hard time outrunning a damn Swampert, okay? Swampert will beat you to a lot of things. Oh, and by the way, also wins CMP against a lot of things. Unless you're using Charizard, then you're probably going to have a problem against Charizard. Anyways, we're going to get started here. So, we get a Balloon into Articuno. Now, this is great, because Ice Cold Turkey is actually going to dominate this matchup. Oh, by the way, our Icy Wind has Stab. Your Icy Wind does not. So, in other words, we beat your ass. Okay, so in other words, so now we get a Cresselia into Articuno. I probably should have swapped into my Gear Altered, but what we're going to do is we're just going to Icy Wind. Well, I'm going to get Icy Wind. I'll get a little more energy because that Driploon actually has Icy Wind energy. So we're going to switch out. I think I caught the Moonblast, but as you see here, we won the lead pretty hard. Well, I actually don't really know the matchup against freaking Ghost Balloon super hard, and we actually did not get debuffed by that Moonblast, so that was amazing. As you see here, with a great one to pair Swampert with is Articuno or anything that actually has Icy Wind or anything like that, because when you debuff them by one stage, it's actually really nuts because guess what? You can take more hits, and when you can take more punches, guess what? That means you're bulkier. And you know what's not bulky? Shadows, because Shadows lose defense. There's your educational piece. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to try to land a Dragon Claw because I want this dude's shield. Come on, give me the shield, man. Give me the shield. I just want your shield. Remember what I said. With shield advantage, Shadow Swampert is a beast. So that's why we want shields. And unfortunately, boy here did not fall for the bait. So, what we're going to do here is just going to let Gira A go because Moonblast will KO. Sadly. Sadly. Alright. So, this is actually okay. So, even though we actually got bodied, we're going to do this. I have no idea what they have in the closer, and we can eat all this damage. We might as well back-to-back Icy Wind, and I probably could farm down a whole Cresselia. So we're literally just going to farm down this entire Cresselia, then Icy Wind whatever's in the back. Because we know we got Driploon. What else do you have in the back? Hopefully it's not anything it's not like it's something that, if I switch into, oh lord, okay. So, well, I jinxed that pretty hard. Okay, so we're gonna we fired the Icy Wind. Now we're at an even shield scenario versus a damn Registeel. Okay, so this is kind of bad because with okay, cool. Okay, that's an Icy Wind. I probably should have fired my Hydro Cannon before they fired the Icy Wind because I'm gonna get debuffed now. So that's okay. That's okay. Actually, this is not okay. The reason being this is not okay is because we actually need to switch out here. We want to land an Earthquake on that Registeel. That's the rule. We don't want Registeel to go against Articuno. I'm going to just get as much energy as I plausibly can here because if the best case scenario, this KOs. Okay, cool. Now I want to grab shields. You got 2 shields. Actually, I think we could just straight up Hydro Cannon you to death. I think I can totally... You have to bait my shield. So this is a Flash Cannon. For sure. Alright, cool. So here's what we're going to do. We are just going to Mudshot the crap out of this thing. Get 2, and then we're just going to switch. Now I'm going to just sack Articuno in here. There's no reason to shield. We have a ton of energy. I just wanted to clear the debuff. Now this Registeel is pretty much dead. You have to use all your energy here. And we have loaded energy. Remember what I said? Having loaded energy is so important. Or have energy advantage. In other words, we're about to break 2 shields right now and just end this poor Registeel's life. Because Registeel does not outpace the Swampert. So our Frog actually outpaces this Registeel. Great. So since we outpaced the Registeel, as you see here, they have to break both shields. You get Earthquake, you die. And we still have a shield. So as you see here, with Energy Lead, Swampert can sweep the entire team in Ultra League. You saw it here. Swampert just took 2 shields from the Registeel and absolutely annihilated it. And we still had our shield. That's how powerful Swampert is in the back. You can lead with it too. I wouldn't recommend it though, just because like you could use Swamp if you get, like I said, if you get Swampert with a strong matchup like against Registeel, you pretty much you with energy advantage, it's a monster. And I'm just gonna leave the short sweet. One more. We win the lead pretty hard here. Articuno versus Alter Giratina. Articuno is the #1 lead, that's why we're using it. And you thought I was gonna be a little spicy? No. Okay, so we get Registeel and Articuno, and they switched into me. I hate that. I hate it. But you know what I don't hate? Anything you could do, I could do better. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we switch, and then I catch the shot. Okay, that totally didn't work. This is gonna be a yeah. So normally, if you get to an ice shard, you actually might be able to. Actually, we did catch the flash can. Okay, this is cool. We caught the flash can. Let's go, guys. All right. Okay. As you see here, I was just talking about if you switch into a strong matchup, like you see here with the Registeel, you can yeah. So yeah, we did well. While at the same time, debuffing the Registeel isn't actually a bad idea. Now the reason for that is because you can actually, I think you can tank a Focus Blast. So you can actually tank a Focus Blast with a Shadow Swampert when Registeel is down an attack. So it's actually not that bad that we actually landed the Icy Wind on this Registeel. This Hydro Cannon is going to prompt this Registeel to either shield, or we can even just farm, or it lets it through and then we farm you down. Or not really farm you down. You can't really farm down a whole Registeel from that range. So you know what? We're just going to get a little more energy. We're going to fire the Hydro Cannon. And I don't want to eat another, like, I don't want to lose Swampert here. We want to win Switch and we have energy advantage. So you want to leave it like that. As you see, Swampert just absolutely dominates its matchup. This Articuno is probably going to try to farm us down, but that's okay. Because all I'm gonna do is just Hydro Cannon does a lot of damage when it's not debuffed. As you see, this prompts the Articuno shield because it's gonna take so much damage. We might even be able to get another Hydro Cannon. No, we do not. Okay, so if I got one more Mud Shot on that Registeel, we would have been able to do it, but it's okay. So we're gonna get an Articuno versus our Articuno. I'm going to shield the first one. I probably should have auto-fired my Icy Wind just because we want to get the debuff. You wanted to boof them before they debuff you. And hopefully... Okay, thank God they didn't switch. Alright, cool. They did not switch. We're fine. We're good. We're Gucci. Okay, perfect. Now, like I said, we probably wanted to debuff them first. Now, we have a shield. The good thing is we have a shield. And but the bad thing is we're debuffed to Oblivion. So... that's what sucks in this situation. I'm not shielding anything. We're pretty much, what we're gonna do is we're gonna sack Articuno. Yeah, we're gonna, well, not really sack Articuno. I'm going to have Articuno take the Icy Wind, and I'm gonna switch. So we don't want their Articuno to get energy. Well, yeah. So we're gonna, this is actually really dangerous because we don't want this to KO, but it's probably going to KO. Okay, it's not gonna KO. Okay, they KO. Perfect. Alright, switch. And we live with 1 HP. Now, hopefully we can get to a Dragon Claw before they get to another one. Okay, so they switch out, and we get Gira altered back on our Gira. So this is kind of okay, actually. We have energy lead. So and we have a shield. So this is actually not that bad, considering yeah, this is actually not that bad. Now, what we want to do is essentially just Dragon Claw this Gira A to Oblivion and hopefully come out with enough energy so that we can actually... because that their Articuno has to throw energy at us to win. That's basically the play. So I'm gonna actually just shield this because their Articuno has to bank energy, farm down, and then we're gonna Dragon Claw the Articuno. So as you see here, Shadow Swampert is really good to take shields. And like I said, if you get a strong matchup, like this happens. You basically dominate the match. And it kind of can be that counter to like those icy wind users, or like it could be that counter to like say someone tries to wall you Reggie Steel, they throw Reggie Steel into you and you win the lead, you can counter with Swampert, which is what most people will do. And this probably is gonna be oh yeah, we died. GG's. Yeah, I jacked up. It's okay. That's fine. But as you see here, Swampert is very, very powerful. Very, very strong. What sucked is that we lost because we threw the Icy Wind into the Reggie Steel. If I didn't happen, that we would have won this match. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. As you see, Swampert's really strong in the closer. You can use it as a lead as a shadow, but in the closer, it's just really powerful because you can get energy lead, swap matchups, and it puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. Again, you guys have a wonderful day. Remember, you have to use an elite TM, so choose very wisely if you want to use Shadow Swampert in Ultra League for Season 4.